Next up, it's Saints back at St Mary's to face Preston on Saturday. Preston had a big win for them on Friday night, televised game. They sit 7th, and they got a win, as I say, on Friday after 2 straight defeats. To spare us any more agony, should we just go straight to the score prediction? But actually, I'm interested. Do any of us now know what our best 11 is?
Well, it's not our best 11. I think I know what the 11 might look
11.
Like.
Yeah,
but it's certainly not the best. It's not the best in the bottom 3 of the Championship, probably.
So, who are the players that can't play? So, Wélington's out for sure. We're not going to appeal that. We're not going to appeal that red card, are we?
Well, I don't know, because
it's a blatant red card. Well, it's a harsh red.
But the thing is, the referee has sent him off for elbowing him in the head, and he clearly hasn't elbowed him in the head. He's jumped and turned at a weird angle, and he's made contact with him halfway down his back. So, I mean, there's an argument that you could get that off for that's not really violent conduct, really. But at the same time, I kind of also think, well, it was just such a stupid thing to do anyway. Just have 3 games off.
I think he's going to struggle. I think he's going to struggle on the intent, because it looked like he was going in with his elbow. And he didn't catch him, and the player made a meal of it. But I mean, I hate Bobby Madley. I think he's a crap referee, but I actually don't have a problem whatsoever with him giving a red card for that on one viewing. I don't think it would be overturned if we had VAR.
No,
because of the way he's gone flying in. So, it was idiotic.
Wélington definitely out. Then let's say Charles obviously looks like hamstring. So
Flynn Downs will be ill.
Flynn Downs will be ill. There's the bug. There's the illness bug that isn't the same.
I'm sorry. Let's talk about Flynn Downs very briefly before we move on. I mean, This next 35 seconds might be extremely harsh to Flynn Downs, and he might well be in bed, ridden with illness every single time. But I do think that fans are getting a little bit frustrated. If he is this unwell every time, then I apologise. But I just feel like we've had so many players pull out with illness this year, and people are going to start asking questions. They're going to start asking questions about whether they really could be. I mean, we asked Will Steele, did Caspiander and Flynn Downs tell you they couldn't play, or did you rule them that they couldn't play? And I think he sort of said, well, they told me it would then be unfair to put them on the pitch, and they both might well be unwell. But I don't know, with Flynn Downs, we know he has this sort of like this intestinal weakness, whatever, because of the E. coli, and it's a gutting for him, and it's a shame for him. But he's also in the past forced his way out of Ipswich. He's sort of thrown his toys out the pram in January this year when Ipswich came back in for him. There are going to be sceptical fans, and I'm not saying this, but there are going to be sceptical fans who think, well, actually, maybe he's just phoning it in. If they were top of the league, would he be available? Maybe that's really harsh on him. But either way, it's not helping the team right now. And the best part of ability is availability, surely, and he's never available.
If we were top of the league, he might not get in the team. So that's another thing. But so I don't know who starts on Saturday. So the first name on the team sheet, presumably Cienza, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. And I mean, Armstrong will play because he's the only guy that's likely to stick the ball in the net. At least if you give him 6 chances, he might get 1 or 2. And I mean, Charles unavailable. Downs, Yander, we assume, is probably going to be okay again. So I mean, the Downs Yander 2 doesn't look awful.
That sounds all right.
No,
it sounds fine to me. What do you do at the back? I mean, Roslev was good. As I say, I thought he was absolutely fine. Given that he's not played again for a few weeks, he slotted in quite well. I thought, especially first half. So him and Manning on either side. Do you go to a 4?
I think if Will still wants to save his job, whether he thinks it works or not, he has to. If he wants to save that,
and then because then you've got to get. I mean, essentially, you've got to try and get all of the players that he wanted into the team. So you've got to get Fellows into the team. You've got to probably get Azaz into the team. I mean, can we actually fit all of those in? I can't count. Possibly.
You could have 4-2-3-1. You could have Fellows, Azaz, Cienza, Armstrong up front. I mean, Armstrong up front is not great, but that's the way you can get 4 of them into a team if you play with the back.
Because presumably Archer's shin is presumably an issue now as well.
I thought you were going to say Archer's shit then. I was going to say fair enough.
I mean, yeah, but
it's probably been said before.
But that was what he went off for, wasn't it? It was a shin injury, I think. With contact from
he was hobbling as he went off, but yeah.
I mean that looked a genuine injury. He went in, the guy cleaned the ball out. It was a perfectly fair challenge, but he has caught him on the way through.
Yeah, newsflash: players always limp off if they get substituted before the hour mark.
Yeah,
always limp off.
Yeah.
So we've got what sounds like a half decent 11 on paper there. You've got McCarthy in goal, Roerslev at right back. Take your pick with the centre halves. Ryan Manning at left back, Yander, Downs, Fellows, Azaz, Cienza, Armstrong.
Let's talk about the centre backs. It's got to be Nathan Wood and someone, I think.
Well, he's going to start Stevens now, isn't he?
Even though Nathan, I mean, I'd start Nathan Wood and Harwood-Bellis personally, but that's the closest to a.
I mean, it's Wood, and you could genuinely do a Tom Bowler,
you could.
I mean, the club must still have that big glass bowl that we drew the balls out with the sponsorship. Let's literally put those centre backs in and draw one out, and that person plays.
It's
really does it?
Surely it's a new game they could put in level 1. Pick the team for Saturday using throwing golf balls.
It's like
balls at a wall or something.
It's like the old Crystal Dome where you've got the bits, the gold and silver bits of paper flapping around in the air conditioning. You got to grab them and hope that when you stuff them in the envelope, it makes a full 11.
Yeah, very good. What about Stevens? He's brought Stevens on in that game, so he's obviously match fit.
Can I actually say one more weird thing? Actually, why? Don't be wrong. I think Cam Bragg is a brilliant player for Academy. I like Cam Bragg. He's had a tough time on loan, but why did Cam Bragg come up to the game rather than Moses Cisse?
Good point.
Who played for the 21s? Yeah,
and has actually played first team games this season.
Well, that to me just seems completely bizarre. But
Moses Cisse he's been pushed forward a little bit, hasn't he? He's playing more as a number 10 now.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's true. But I think he did play midfield for 21s that day. But that might be true. That is a fair point.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Jack Stevens.
No one's answering my question about Jack Stevens. You're all ignoring me, which is not nice for the new guy, right?
As the official sponsor, we have to.
Yeah, it's a bit of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that glass bowl. That worked well,
Would
right?
we start at Jack Stevens? Is that the question?
Let's just say he didn't do very much in yesterday's game to warrant getting picked for next week, even though he was thrown to the wolves a little bit.
Yeah, you give him a little bit of a pass because he's playing in the position that isn't his position, and
correct.
As you say, he's not played for 5-6 weeks when he wasn't playing particularly well anyway, and you're now throwing him into this chaotic situation where the midfield is collapsing around him, and you're asking him to kind of drag everything through, you've just thrown a proper hospital pass there by the manager, unfortunately. But in terms of whether he's the one picked, I mean, if you value kind of a little bit of organisation at the back, then okay, vocally he's one of the better ones we've got, but he's got to be able to organise his own game, and that has ultimately always been his problem. He's good at organising others, and that's why we've often played with a 5.
Yeah,
because you can then get away with having 3 centre backs, because if 2 of them are in the positions they should be, then the third one can just be kind of there mopping up and pointing and looking, sort of looking like a leader. But in a 4, both centre backs are going to have to be busy, and you can be up against that lunatic Amo-Ameyaw.
Yes,
on Saturday.
He's been a sub recently, so
was he?
He'll come on at some point.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, Preston are a decent side. Their record speaks for itself. They're in 7th. But it's their home record that is the key for them. They've beaten Ipswich, they've beaten Leicester, and they've beaten Sheffield United at Deepdale. Away from home, they've not done very much at all. They lost at Fratton Park. Where else have they been? They won at Derby, but then they drew at Hull and lost at West Brom. So Yeah, away from home, they're nowhere near as strong as they are at home, as you would expect most teams to be. So, kind of pretty much a sort of middle of the road championship side, I guess.
But they're playing us.
Yeah.
So their away record could be about to get a little bit better, possibly. If we go one down early, what's the atmosphere like?
It won't be great.
Well, yeah. I'm intrigued to see how many people are in the building in the first place, because I think every single home game this season, bar the derby, obviously, has progressively dropped in attendance. And I imagine that'll be the same again. And yeah, if they go 1 down again, it'll be a nightmare for everybody. And then you ask the question of, can these players produce in that kind of environment? The answer we've been routinely told is no. Can the manager change that around in the second half? He's done it a couple of times this season, but not enough. So yeah, I think if they go 1-0 down, it could be a very tricky place to play.
Actually, probably the worst option is to go 1-0 up. Possibly, because
if you go 1-0 up in the 97th minute, then you say that you at least give yourself half a chance.
Might get a draw.
Well, it was like that Everton game last season, wasn't it? Obviously the one home league game we won all season. Go 1-0 up on the 86th minute, and that was almost still not enough because they equalised and had it ruled out by VAR.
Yeah,
just ridiculous. I mean, we've got to do something about this home record. And it's not incumbent on a particular manager, because they've all suffered. Russell Martin, Ivan Juric, Simon Rusk, and now Will Still. Between them, what we got? 2 home wins.
Yeah.
Since basically going back to the start of last season.
Russell Martin's the only manager appointed by Sport Republic who's won more than 2 league games.
Yeah,
that's an
think about that as a stat.
That is an incredible stat, isn't it?
Remarkable. Bear in mind, they bought the club in January 2022.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Sellers won 2, didn't he?
Yeah, 1-2.
Yeah, so
more than two. Yeah.
Although, I mean, you could argue that Chelsea game wasn't him, because he was caretaker then rather than actually.
I think
appointed.
He would argue with that as well.
Oh, I'm sure
the other
would.
way, but yeah. I think it's a fair point that ultimately it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because fans are absolutely right to be annoyed at this point, and they're sick and tired of being told that we need to get behind the team. They want to be given a team to get behind at this point. But it is a catch-22, because it is going to be hard for the players now under this pressure. They don't deserve anything better, but it's going to be hard for them to produce. And that's why it's worrying, I think. But I still think there's at the end of the day that there is quality in this squad, and they should, on paper, be able to get a result. But we just need to see if they can do it.
All right. Well, talking about quality in the squad, let's go on to the sheer comedy that was this week's score predictions. So we'll start back at Bristol. So Steve, you had us down for a 1-0 win. Glen, you had us down for a 1-0 win.
Right for 3 minutes.
Yeah, Alfie 1-1 and Martin, when he was here, had us down as a 1-0 defeat. So I think he gets a point or so for picking the right result, but not the right score.
I don't like this reviewing our crap predictions.
Sorry, I'm just following instructions, right? So let's do the same with Blackburn, right? Steve had us as a 3-1 win. Glen as a 2-0 win. Alfie as a 1-0 win. Martin had us 0-0. We had
record then.
Yeah, well done. For Bristol City, 128 predictions we had in for that game. 31 of you got the correct results, but nobody got the correct score. So 31 of you went for the loss. Blackburn, same sort of numbers, 120 predictions, but only 14 predicted the loss there. But we did get 9 out of those 14 who got the correct scores, which is quite impressive there. So I asked the question more in hope than expectation, as the saying goes. So Alfie, start with you. Looking at the Preston game then, we already know Preston 7th in the league, quite a distance between us and them, but not so good as we've heard from Steve on their away form. So Alfie, what does that tell you?
I think when you think of Preston as well, and this might be just my bias showing, but I always think of sort of low scoring affairs. But there's actually been quite a lot of goals in their games. So I will, on that basis, go for what am I going to go for? I'll go for a 2-1 win.
A 2-1 win to Alfie. Glen?
Preston, I find them quite interesting this season because they've gone down the loan player route. They've got 4 players on loan from Premier League clubs. Daniel Jefferson, Bournemouth, Harrison Armstrong, Everton, Alfie Devine, Spurs, Lewis Dobbin, Villa. And if you read a bit about Preston fans and what they've said about them, those 4 have totally transformed their side from what it was last year. It was an interesting discussion we had because obviously in the Championship, we went down the loan player route and got quite a few in, including some that we ultimately signed. So it'd be interesting to see how Preston go. And if they do manage to get promoted, they'll then be in the same issue that we were in, where you've either got to sign them or replace them. And it's but that's the route they've decided to go down. And
they'll definitely take that position as well. I mean, if they can somehow get promoted, they'll be in dreamland. So
they've made a good start, and as Alfie says, I'm sure they take that. They tend to play 3 at the back as well, so they'll clearly do it better than we do. So it'll be interesting to see how we line up, whether we can force their fullbacks back to make them a back 5 like Bristol City did against us. That'll be interesting. But
that's a very considered build-up to a score prediction.
Will the game be interesting? Probably not. I've gone with optimism. I think I've predicted something like 8 wins out of 12 this year, and obviously that hasn't happened. So
plenty of time.
I'll go for a 1-1 draw and another depressing afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Saturday just kind of sapped everything out of everybody.
Totally.
It's weird because these days I kind of feel like I can compartmentalize like the frustration and stuff, and like this hour that we sit together every Sunday evening is
therapy.
Kind of almost my kind of therapy session. I flick the button on the wall, and the door's sealed for the next hour. But yesterday I was in a real stinking mood for the entirety of the evening, and I apologise to the missus for it. But it was. Yeah, it just felt like it felt different yesterday compared to any of the others. Certainly this season, but even most of the ones last year. It's like, well, we're nowhere near as good as these teams that we're playing, so yeah, we're going to lose. But yeah, yesterday just felt like such a kick in the teeth, just in terms of the way it all collapsed. And yeah, I do wonder whether he's going to be able to pick them up, whether the players want picking up, because that's kind of the underlying question now, isn't it? That people are genuinely asking, do these players actually give a shit? And I think come 5 o'clock Saturday, we'll probably have a reasonable answer to that question. I think in the absence of any evidence to the contrary, I will give them one last benefit of the doubt and go with a ground out but slightly horrible 2-1 win.
I think that would be absolutely magic. I mean, I don't think that many people can take much more of this, really. I'm desperate for Will still to turn it around, I guess, to get at least this next result. Yes, he's made his mistakes in that game on the weekend, I think. But I think by and large, there's been a lot of mitigating factors. He's been let down by a lot of people. And he's a good bloke. I know people don't care. He's a manager. He's not a bloke. But he is a good bloke. And I think he's came to the club with a good record in a different league. I think he's probably learned a lot about the Championship. I think he's definitely been taken by surprise by a few bits. But I can't be doing another manager so soon. So I just hope that they can just turn it around a little bit. I'm desperate for that this weekend.
Yeah, well, just to summarise it, Alfie, you went 2-1 win. Glen, 1-1. Steve, 2-1 win. If anybody's remotely interested, I'm going for a 2-2 draw, but it'll be a horrible one because one team will be winning 2-1 with about 3 minutes to go, and we're either going to scrape a draw or we're going to concede at the last minute. That's how I can see that panning out. If you want to play along at home, all you need to do is use your Patreon login. You'll find the leaderboard and how to play on our website. Just visit our website, all the W's, totalsaints.co.uk.